fights the dream. Speed and drama every turn on NFR, the rubber burns. Feel the thrill of every bend, where the champions transcend. Feel the power at NFR, burning tracks, driving far, where the races never end. NFR, only friend. Fernando calls the play on NFR every race day. Commentary sharp and loud, hyping up the roaring crowd. Feel the power at NFR, burning tracks, driving far, where the races never end. NFR, only friend. Now Fernando calls the play on NFR at race day. Commentary sharp and loud, hyping up the roaring crowd. Feel the power at NFR, burning tracks, driving far, where the races never end. NFR, only friend. Deaf Queen, the top supporter scene, in the crowd where speed is keen. NFR, the place to be. Join the race, watch and see.
Dreams roar, the crowd goes wild. SAFRL under the lights. Tuesday night a battle begins. Speeding hearts chasing winds. Pit stops are lightning fast. Every second a driver must grasp. Bumps and spins on curves so tight, fighting for glory beneath the twilight. SAFRL on a Tuesday night, adrenaline rush and flashing lights, tears and triumphs on the line. In the race of life at 8 p.m. shine. The checkered flag is waving near, fans are cheering, can you hear? Highs and lows in every lap, drawn falls, no time for a nap. Competitors push with all their might, risking it all in the fight. Victory awaits the bold and brave. Legends are born on this stage. SAFRL on a Tuesday night, adrenaline rush and flashing lights, tears and triumphs on the line. In the race of life at 8 p.m. shine. Checkered flag is waving near, fans are cheering, can you hear? Highs and lows in every lap, drawn falls, no time for a nap. Competitors push with all their might, risking it all in the fight. Victory awaits the bold and brave. Legends are born on the stage. SAFRL on a Tuesday night, adrenaline rush and flashing lights, tears and triumphs on the line. In the race of life at 8 p.m. shine.
Let me spin you a tale about a race car driver, George Russell by name.
He's quick on the track, but don't get too excited, 'cause when it comes to greatness, well, he's not quite knighted. He's good, but not that great. Oh George, oh George. He's got the speed, but not the fake. Oh George, oh George. He looks like Woody from Toy Story, that's no lie. And when the race goes wrong, oh how that boy can cry. He's got the helmet, he's got the car, but when it comes to win, he's not quite up to par. He's got the look like Woody with a cowboy hat, but when he's in the pit, you'll see him shed a tear stack. Now don't get me wrong, he's got some skill, but when you're talking about the best, he's not in that middle. He'll race you hard, give you quite the fright, but in the end, he's more known for his tears at night. He's good, but not that great. Oh George, oh George. He's got the speed, but not the fate. Oh George, oh George. He looks like Woody from Toy Story, that's no lie. And when the race goes wrong, oh how that boy can cry. So here's to George, with his heart on his sleeve. In the world of Formula One, he's got a lot to achieve. He might not be the champ, but he sure is fun. So let's give a cheer for George, our Woody on the run. He's good, but not that great. Oh George, oh George. He's got the speed, but not the fate. Oh George, oh George. He looks like Woody from Toy Story, that's no lie. And when the race goes wrong, oh how that boy can cry. So here's to George, with his heart on his sleeve. In the world of Formula One, he's got a lot to achieve. He might not be the champ, but he sure is fun. So let's give a cheer for George, our Woody on the run.
In the quiet lanes of Silverstone town, folks are whispering about a boy falling down. Got a seat from his daddy, money's the king. Driving that Williams ain't like riding free. Tires spin, engines roar, but the podium's far. His wheels hit the gravel, now there's damage to the car. Got the world at his feet, yet he fumbles the lead. His dreams race away, but he's not in the speed. Daddy's money, daddy's ride, crashing dreams, nowhere to hide. Bought him a name that can't buy a skill. Lance keeps trying, but the track's all uphill. Now he's got his own team with a famous name. Aston Martin's the brand, but it's still the same shame. Every corner, every turn, the crashes unfold. Dreams wrapped in carbon fiber, truth left untold. Paddock folks shake their heads with a sigh as the green car spins and the hopes run dry. No matter the funds, it's a harsh game of pain. $1 million toys can't shelter the rain. Daddy's money, daddy's ride, crashing dreams, nowhere to hide. Bought him a name but can't buy a skill. Lance keeps trying, but the track's all uphill. Daddy's money, daddy's ride, crashing dreams, nowhere to hide. Bought him a name but can't buy a skill. Lance keeps trying, but the track's all uphill. Lance keeps trying, but the track's all uphill.
Gather round, mates, for a tale that's a laugh about a racer named Jack took an F1 path. Aussie lad with guts, but he spun that ride, crashed his dreams, now he's off to the side. Jack Gold Coast born with speed in his heart, Dad's a legend, gave him racing from the start. F4, F3, tearing up the scene. F2 king, living out his dream. Alpine shouted, Jack, you're our man. Gave him Ocon seat, thought he'd lead the plan. But 25 roaring like a Roo gone wild. Jack's F1 hopes got wrecked in exile. Suzuka turn 1, pushing 8 and 5. Slammed that wall, car barely survived. Team radio buzz, Jack, you still there? He's stumbling out, dust in his hair. Oh, Jack ain't coming back, he's done away, mate. Crashed that car, sealed his F1 fate. 0 points, left skid marks on the track. Frank goes in, and Jack ain't coming back. Miami Grand Prix, thought he'd make a mark. Turn 1, lap 1, sent Liam Lawson to the dark. Penalty stacked, his license near shot. Speeding in the pits, fines hit the lot. Alpine's cash took a hit from a spree. Boss Ollie Oak said, Jack, you're killing me. Franco Colapinto with bucks and a smile. Snagged Jack's seat, sent him back in exile. Fans online are cackling, saying Jack's a bust. 6 races, no points, mate, you're eating dust. Oh, Jack ain't coming back, he's done away, mate. Crashed that car, sealed his F1 fate. 0 points, left skid marks on the track. Frank goes in, and Jack ain't coming back. Jack swore he'd push like a dingo on fire, but his car's in scraps and his dreams retired. Back to reserve, just a spare in the shed. F1 chewed him up, left his hopes for dead. Jack with a grin and a cheer. Your F1 run was a wild outback steer. Aussie battler, you gave it a crack, but them crashes prove Jack ain't coming back. Oi, mate. Oh, Jack ain't coming back, he's done oi, mate. Crashed that car, sealed his F1 fate. 0 points, left skid marks on the track. Frank goes in, and Jack ain't coming back. He roared onto the scene, a rookie with a dream. McLaren's golden boy, fastest we'd ever seen. His first season was fire, left the vets in the dust. Won that championship in 08, man, that kid was a must. From Mercedes to the top, he was king of the track. Silver arrows in his hands, ain't no looking back. Oh, Lewis, you were flying, tires screaming in the sun, dominating every race, yeah, you won and won and won. But Abu Dhabi broke your heart, Mozzie's call still stings. Now you're chasing dreams in red, but your Ferrari ain't got wings. At Mercedes he was gold, stacking titles like a boss. Rosberg gave him headaches, but he still came across. Then Bottas rolled in, just a sidekick in the race. Lewis mowed him down with that champion's poker face. But then came 21, Abu Dhabi's cruel twist. Mossie's name's in his nightmares, man, he's still so pissed. Lost that 8th world title, it haunts him to this day. just drives away. Oh, Lewis, you were flying, tires screaming in the sun, dominating every race. Yeah, you won and won and won, but Abu Dhabi broke your heart. Mozzie's call still stings. Now you're chasing dreams in red, but your Ferrari ain't got wings. He said, Ferrari's my mission, I'll bring them back to glory. But the Tifosi's waiting for a different kind of story. That red car's a clunker, it's sputtering and slow. Fans are whispering washed up, and it's starting to show. He strutted into Maranello, thought he'd rule the grid, but that Ferrari's like a mule, can't do what he did. The anticipation fizzle, now the critics all agree. Lewis, you're a legend, but your prime's history. Oh, Lewis, you were flying, tires screaming in the sun, dominating every race. Yeah, you won and won and won, but Abu Dhabi broke your heart. Mozzie's call still stings. Now you're chasing dreams in red, but your Ferrari ain't got wings. So here's to you, Sir Lewis, with your titles and your fame. You'll always be a hero, but this ain't your game. Trade that helmet for a Stetson, sing a country tune instead, 'cause your Ferrari's running on fumes, and your racing days are dead. Engines roar on Monte Carlo streets, Lando's on pull, feel the heartbeats beat. McLaren's orange, shining in the sun. The Monaco dream, yeah, he's just begun. From Australia's win to this tight track, he's chasing the crown, ain't no looking back. Stops to make, it's the new game rules. Strategy's tight, gotta keep it cool. Leclerc's right there, hometown heroes fight, but Lando's got the fire to ignite the night. Orlando, Monaco king, pull to the flag, hear the engine sing. Fastest lap, he's breaking the mold. Norris takes the crown on these streets of gold. Monaco, baby, he screams to the sky. McLaren's on top, watch the papaya fly. Verstappen's out front, playing the long game, holding up the pack, it's a tactical aim. Lap 77, he dives to the pit. Lando breaks free, now he's leading it. Leclerc's in his mirrors, pushing DRS, but Lando stays calm, he's the boss, no stress. To stop chaos, teams play their hand. Williams and Bull stacking up the plan. Piastri's right there, teammate holding strong, but Lando's the star of this Monaco song. Orlando, Monaco king, pull to the flag, hear the engine sing. Fastest lap, he's breaking the mold. Norris takes the crown on these streets of gold. Monaco, baby, he screams to the sky. McLaren's on top, watch the papaya fly. Red flags, yellows, none came today, but the walls were close, kept the fear in play. Gasly's out early, Sainz pulls aside. Norris holds steady with his team by his side. Zach Brown's beaming, trophy in hand, 16 for McLaren, ruling this land. Orlando, Monaco king, pull to the flag, hear the engine sing. Fastest lap, he's breaking the mold. Norris takes the crown on these streets of gold. Monaco, baby, he screams to the sky. McLaren's on top, watch the papaya fly. 3 points to Piastri, the title's in sight. Lando's got the hunger. longer burning bright tonight. From Rascals to the hairpin, he carved his name. Monaco's his in the Formula One game. Lando, oh Lando, you've made it true. The Monaco dream.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome back to NFR. Welcome back to SAFRL, of course, season 11, round 11. Obviously, the drivers haven't had enough of it. We had Monaco for SKR on Sunday. Very different street circuit yesterday in the form of Vegas. And look where we've returned. Obviously, a driver favorite. Welcome back to all the regulars in the comment section. Skull, Wheeze, Death Queen. Sugar Bear was in here earlier as well. Wheeze in here as well. Not sure if he's talking down his chances. Oh, what a moment that was. I was wondering, wait a second, why can't I hear anything? Well, my headphones, they were on the floor. Quite the moment indeed. Just 11 runners in the field this evening, as we saw on Sunday. Just the 15 runners in that Monaco field, just 11 this time round. It is the sort of layout, the sort of circuit drivers don't really mind skipping. Monaco's the sort of circuit you want to put at the beginning of the calendar, put it at the end. Once drivers are out of the championship, well, they tend to just skip over it. No lap times just yet, but they're going to be coming up shortly because it's the shortest race circuit on the calendar. They get around here really quickly. Just the 3.3 kilometers. The lap time suggests that the lap is a lot longer. It's just in fact that they're going a lot slower than they would on any other race circuit. Ooh, that's a slide. Well caught by Virus. That could have ended in disaster. Held on well. We've got a retirement very early on. Retirement of Levy. That means, has he set a lap time? No, he hasn't set a lap time at all, so he's going to be starting from the rear of the field. Wheeze has since gone fastest. 108.5. I think I'm correct in saying that that is incredibly close to the pole lap we saw on Sunday. I think the pole lap we saw on Sunday was an 8.3. Just let me know in the comment section. I'm not looking at the stream, so let me know in the comment section. How do things look? How do things sound? Is everything good? We's the quickest man out on circuit by quite some margin, 108.5. Next best. Where is Visor? Take a screenshot. Harsh Cartoon on the front row, P2, then Andre, 111.1. We know he can go quicker than that. We'll often see in a qualifying session drivers getting quicker and quicker as the session goes on. Here in Monaco, it is even further exaggerated. Those first couple of laps might just be on your toes. A little bit nervous, a little bit scared of the barriers, looking for the grip, but as the session goes on, confidence goes up. Start to lean on those tires, start to believe in those tires, believe the grip is there. Of course, sometimes you're mistaken. Here in Monaco, you don't often get second chances. There we go, W for Harsh Cartoon, 10.0, second best in the field so far. This is Skull, first lap was a 1:13.1. It was either a big mistake or he was doing that, messing about. Some people have called for the removal of that chicane in particular, the chicane Skull just jumped. Don't really know if that would fix any of the problems. It's simply just not wide enough. You can see there on your tyre data, next to the tyre data, it tells you how many laps the drivers have done on that set of tyres. So We's brand new set of tyres on an out lap, looking to go and improve on what is already a very impressive lap time. Second best, Harsh Cartoon, 10.0, gap of 1.5 seconds on the front row. Who is going to take the step up and who is going to challenge We's in this race? Because if this sort of thing translates to race pace, well, it's going to be a very lonely race for the Red Bull driver. On the other side of the field, Spikes, still waiting for the first lap time from him. Because the Monaco circuit is so short, you can sometimes fit in another run. If you get around really quickly, don't mess around, spend any extra time in the pits. You can see some of those drivers, they've done multiple laps on those soft tyres. Andre, his time has since gone up. He's got a 10.1. Skull has gone into P2 with a 108.9. That in fact is a very decent lap time. 108.9, 4/10 off the fastest. But again, look who it is who's fastest. This is Andre in the Ferrari. Of course, Ferrari, Monaco, the only thing that comes to mind is Charles Leclerc. Such an incredibly quick driver around this circuit. Just look at his qualifying record around this circuit. But this is his race record. but unlucky. Fortunately, he did get that monkey off his back last year, picked up a victory at home. P2 this time round. Of course, it is a triple header, which means we have F1 again this weekend. And some will be happy, some will be sad. We're going to Catalonia for the last time. Of course, we will still see Catalonia for quite some time here on the channel. F125 will have Catalonia. That will be the last game with Catalonia, and this will be the last time we see it on the calendar. Of course, we're moving over to Madrid. I can tell you a lot of Spaniards are not too happy about it, because the ticket prices between the F1 race at Catalonia and what's expected at Madrid. Madrid is expected to be more of a Miami type vibe when it comes to prices. Of course, the three most expensive Grand Prix to visit, all inside the United States. Surprisingly, none of the ones in the Middle East. Well, Monaco, I don't think you want to go there. You're going to pay £1,000 for a beer. Skulk, the man at the rear of the field, 113.4 in P10. Obviously not enjoying this layout very much. I'd like to know what happened to Levy, because we didn't get to see it on screen. Wonder if that was a crash. Was it some sort of voluntary retirement in the form of a penalty? Should probably have a look at the Discord a little bit more often. He's still the quickest man, 108.3. Well, he wasn't able to accomplish, I think, that 108.3 on Sunday. He's accomplished it tonight. Osh Cartoon still sitting well there, 10-0, P3. Nobody else has been able to improve beyond that. But have a look at Andre. Have a look at Skull. Those two drivers, all of those first lap times you saw, every lap you saw, it was set on the same set of tires. That'll tell you two things. It'll tell you that when they initially went out, they went out with a lot of fuel. And then when that car finally did get light, those tires had passed their peak. So when you take both those elements away, put on a brand new set of rubber, put in just enough fuel for that one flyer, those lap times will inevitably come down. Fernando, can you please invite Pantry? I will try. I will try and invite Pantry. Let's see. There we go. Hopefully your game sound is back. I think I sent him an invite. This is Skulk out on circuit, still that best lap for him at 13.4, still quite a ways off. Actually looking at the wrong driver. That is Skulk. And that was Skulk. Luckily for everybody, this is just the game. If this was in real life, that would be a red flag. Session over. But luckily for everyone, that car will just ghost and then disappear. That is the second retirement. Skulk was in P10. He was looking to try and improve, get himself up the field, and then in that final corner, just clipping the Armco on the inside, and that was the end of that. We're looking at the quickest man out on circuit. He's returning to the pits. This is Skull on a brand new set of tyres. Remember his best lap time, a 1:08.9, the only thing close to Wheeze at this stage. Wheeze has retired from the session, so he's going to enjoy the rest of the session as a spectator. He's going to watch the laps from Skull. We're saying personal best in session, personal best. Is that your best qualifying lap around Monaco ever? Is that what you mean? We're looking at Skull. He did a 1:08.9. The only thing that came close, the only driver in the 1:08s besides Wheeze, he did set that lap time. The car that probably had an extra lap of fuel or two and a set of tyres that wouldn't have been at their best. So let's see what he can put together when he has all the right tools. That is one of the parts of the circuit they are considering changing. The widening of that hairpin, I'm not quite sure how they're going to do that. There's 3 potential changes named. But I'm not so sure if they would fix the problem. You're looking at Skull, 1:08.9 and is his best lap. If he dives into the pits, it's because there's no improvement. He does not. He's going to go over the line. Let's see what he can come up with. 1:08.9 stays as a 1:08.9, does not find an improvement, stays in P2. And as things sit, where is Visor? The night something like this happens, Visor doesn't show up. He's had all the time in the world to take that screenshot. This is Andre, another driver I expect to find a big improvement. Remember, he did multiple laps on a set of tyres. Car would be a lot heavier than you'd like in qualifying. Now he should have the car as light as can be. Brand new set of rubber, just 40 seconds remaining, so that means he's going to get over the line and he's going to be able to finish this lap. Death Queen saying I'll send him a screenshot. Fantastic. Look at what you're missing, Visor. Look at what you're missing. Obviously somebody didn't hit the bell notification. Looking now at Virus, he's about to go over the line and very nice lap. Skull P2, Virus P3, Aston Martin 2 and 3. 1:08.9, 1:09.9. Look at that gap. Only 2 drivers in the 1:08s. It's Wheeze and Skull. It's the 2 drivers on the front row. for everybody else. You better hope that doesn't translate into race pace. This is Andre. And look at that, he's split the Aston Martins. Told you he'd go faster. Had to go faster. All the ingredients were there. The car was too heavy. The tyres were past their peak. And there we go, 109.5, Skull P2, Andre P3, but Wheeze. I didn't see that. I'm a little bit too far away from my monitor. I thought Wheeze was in the 108s. Apparently not. Correcting me in the comment section. I'll have another look at it now. There we go. You're definitely not in the 108s. I thought it was a 108.3. You improved. 107.9. What a lap time. Almost clears the field by a second. 8.5 tenths to be exact. Skull P2, great result. Then Andre P3, he'll be happy with that. Qualifying so important here in Monaco. Virus P4, Pantry Star P5, Harsh Cartoon P6, Spikes P7, Robin P8, Sugar Bear P9, Top Gun P10, and then Skulk and Levy, they retired from qualifying. What a lap time. 107.8. Of course, a lot of drivers already turning their attention to the new game. Seeing a lot of screenshots of drivers already downloading the game. That's why the lobby looks the way it is, but I assure you when Season 12 arrives, things are going to look a little different. Now stare down the empty pit lane. Cars will be to the right hand side of your screen, frantically deciding what is their plan for the race. Of course, a lot of drivers could just do exactly what they did on Sunday. Other drivers might have learned from a mistake on Sunday. Try and fix it here tonight. Of course, this is the penultimate round of SAFRL. Just 1 week to go for season 11. Of course, we're here tonight, and then SKR final round on Sunday, Barcelona. And then the same here next week, Tuesday, final round, Barcelona. When we return with season 12, it's going to be F125. Slightly extended break. Of course, when we do eventually get going, we're not going to be going straight into the race. As always, we'll have our formation lap. Gives the drivers just one last opportunity to try and prep those tyres, prep the brakes, get everything ready. Probably more important than any other circuit on the calendar, qualifying for Monaco. Of course, if we have a race with multiple safety cars, then really anything can happen. Even the leaders tend to get messed about. If you pit at the wrong time, find yourself in the midfield in a queue. And there we go. Just spoke about it, and somebody else just sent me a screenshot of them downloading F125. I have not yet, because well, we need to look for funds. Eventually we do get underway, the dual green lights. Whenever the pause goes on for a little bit too long, I always get worried that the lobby may be broken, but fortunately we are underway. Of course, the Monaco circuit, a circuit that has not changed much over the years. Of course, there was a time there was none of that Onco barrier, and the only protection was literally stacks of hay. If you managed to get any footage of those very early Monaco Grand Prix, you'll be shocked. Weeze was in a league of his own in qualifying. Skull, I think he was the only driver in the 108s, then followed by Andre. Thought the Aston Martins were going to start line astern for a moment, 2 and 3, but Andre did manage to split those cars. One thing the drivers can take as a positive is when the lobby only has 12 drivers. Monaco isn't quite as challenging. 20 drivers around this tight circuit can make things even worse. You don't get the best angle for the start of the race. Hopefully that changes in the new game. We don't see the red lights, we don't hear the red lights. Thank you F124, but we are underway. Absolutely no competition into turn 1 as Weeze leads the way, but Andre does get the jump on Skull. Ferrari P2 out of turn 1, nicely done, gets the jump on the Aston Martin. Skull 1 place down, Virus still in P4, the place he started, and look at that. Aston Martin 1-2 overtake. What happened with the Ferrari? Is there damage to the Ferrari? There was an overtake initially. Skull, Virus saw the overtake. Thought what an opportune moment to make an overtake on circuit around Monaco. They say overtaking around Monaco is impossible. Apparently not. I was gonna say, and then Skull said, "Hold my beer," and then I thought, oh no, Skull should not be drinking beer. Weeze quickest driver over the line, but of course that's the end of lap 1. But look at the gap already, 2.8 seconds. What a gap. He's just having fun out there at the front. He knows it's going to be a lonely race. It's going to resemble a testing session. That, at least that's what he wants it to be. Of course, if safety cars decide to get involved, strategy often does not go according to the plan you had when you were sitting on that grid. Let's bring up your sire information. Let's have a look at who's doing what at the start of the race. The position changes. Virus up into P3. Andre lost a position down to P4. That was a brilliant double overtake by the Aston Martins. Of course, if Andre hadn't seen that, hadn't allowed the space, well, it could have been nasty. Because Virus was quite committed to follow his teammate. So if he had thought, right, Skull is through, let me get back on my line, well, he would have driven straight into the Aston Martin. Red Bull out front. Good evening to Visor. Welcome to the stream. Welcome to SAFRL. Of course, earlier on in qualifying, well, Osh Cartoon for a very, very long time was the driver in P3, and of course, Weiser missed it. Weiser only shows up for the bad times. Squeeze who leads the way, no surprise there, but look at the gap. I thought he'd be leading, I just didn't think he'd be leading like this. At the end of lap 3, 6.2 second gap. He's basically taking 2 seconds a lap out of the rest of the field. Absolutely ridiculous what's happening up front. He's not slowing down anytime soon. He's having an absolute blast using all of the racetrack. What racetrack there is. Of course, the circuit in parts just 8 meters wide. These modern F1 cars don't go too well with that combination. Weiser's saying, "Wheeze, chill." I don't think he's got any chill. We can be a little sarcastic, can't we? He was taking 2 seconds a lap out of the field. On the last lap, he's dropped the ball. He just took 1 second out of the field. I think you're chilling a bit too much, Wheeze. And well, would you look at that? The man makes an appearance shortly after the safety car makes an appearance. And Wheeze, that's what I mean when you're really quick in Monaco, quicker than the rest of the field. If everything goes according to plan, it's basically a private test session. You just pull away into the distance. It's safety cars. If safety cars come out at regular intervals, well then, you build up a gap, you have to slow down, you have to let everybody catch up, you have to do it again. And even though you've got that speed, you've done it once, you can do it twice, you can do it 3 times. But every time there's that restart, there's that risk that you've lost your concentration, you've lost the groove slightly. We've seen so many times at restarts, silly mistakes from drivers who hadn't so much as picked up a penalty before that. That is Weiser's number 1 famous line, well. Of course, there's 2 of them. First one is well. The second one, for some reason, is Al Hosh Cartoon. 2 of the most common phrases used by Weiser, according to YouTube analytics. I will tell you though, Al Hosh Cartoon is used a lot more. Of course, we are under safety car conditions on lap 6 of 39. 39 laps around this circuit for a 50% race. Because the circuit is so short, if you get a safety car, you can further reduce the average speed of these cars. The race can take a rather long time. It was the first time I ever saw the Grand Prix stop because of time rather than laps. It was the Monaco Grand Prix. I think at the time, I think it was in the 90s, and I think at the time it was the only track on the calendar where that rule applied. There was a maximum time for the Grand Prix, and then they would just cut things off. Lots of times you'd have a a race that was badly affected by rain, and that just meant you were never going to get all of your laps in. Pfizer saying Harsh Cartoon can still make the top 10. Well, looking at the field, I think that's I think that's probably the case. You don't want to be the driver in P11, the only driver in the field not to pick up a point. Of course, when the field starts off this small, there's always the risk that we see the repeat of 1996. If you think Monaco is boring, if you don't enjoy Monaco, if you can't think of a Monaco Grand Prix you've ever enjoyed, if you have access to F1 TV, go look up Monaco 1996. What a disaster. Michael Schumacher took his second pole position for Ferrari, second ever pole position for Ferrari. Everyone was very excited. The Monaco master around Monaco starting from pole on a Ferrari. With a Ferrari, would it be Ferrari's return to the top step of the podium? Well, that's where Monaco 1996 all began. Michael Schumacher crashed on the formation lap. Then championship leader crashed, Damon Hill, and so it continued until only 3 drivers remained. 4 drivers finished the race, 4 were classified, 3 crossed the line, put it that way. So that was the one and only race victory for Olivier Panis in the Ligier. Weiss leads the way, Skull in P2, 0.6 of a second now. Remember at the start he got a blistering start, and then there was a bit of action. There was a bit of action between the Aston Martins and the Ferrari, a little bit of side by side. Not necessarily nudging, but that sort of driving takes your concentration off the leader. And that just allowed Weiss to disappear into the distance. This time around, Skull will know, needs to stay close. Problem for him, if it was any other race circuit, he could utilize DRS just to get towed around by the leader, but here in Monaco, this is the only DRS zone. It starts here, they don't have it yet. Now DRS is enabled and it ends right there. Very short straight, and a not so straight. I think you could take DRS out of the Monaco Grand Prix and it wouldn't make one bit of difference. Liza saying Monaco in reverse would be nice. I have done Monaco in reverse. I think that was on. I think that was with a few mods on Assetto Corsa. I don't agree. F1 is actually consulting with Alexander Wurz, former Formula 1 driver and designer of the Saudi Arabian circuit, as well as Herman Tilke, to have a look at the Monaco circuit and if there are any viable options for any changes. Some suggestions of moving that chicane that comes after the tunnel, just basically moving it a lot closer to the exit of the tunnel, meaning you come out of the tunnel sort of into a chicane, come back out, and that would give you a much longer run into the left-hander, a widened entry into Rascasse, and a widened hairpin. I just don't know how they're going to be able to do that. that break the tradition of the circuit? If it's no longer the exact layout, the likes of Senna, Lauda, Prost, Mansell, if it's no longer that very same layout, does it have the exact same feel? It's all about tradition. Surely you've got to keep it the same. And will you look at that? Not what you want to see. We had an RB ghosting in the middle of the circuit. We did see a caution. Held my breath briefly, but no safety car. Lap 11 of 39. We continue. You're looking at the second Ferrari in the field. Ferrari of Top Gun down the order in P9. I think he'll be hoping for a second safety car, something to spice things up, allow him to throw the dice. Levy has left the session. This is Robin in the pits getting a new front wing. And we've got a caution yet again, but Weiss leads the way. 0.5 of a second is the gap this time around. Skull keeping him a lot closer. This first time round, Skull would have been very, very distracted. Got passed into turn 1 by Andre. Had to make that position back up. His teammate followed him through. Since then, Andre has slipped down to P6. Something to take note of. Andre, Posh Cartoon, Sugar Bear, all of those drivers, they made a pit stop under the safety car. Of course, no 2025 rules, no 2 mandatory stops. If you can take that tyre to the end, well, you don't have to pit again. If you get a safety car towards the end, well, then you can get rid of them and have a free pit stop. Andre in P6, looking not to pit again. You're looking at the man in P2, as well as the man in P1, because they're in the same frame, and they're going to remain in the same frame because, as Weiser would say, can you guess it? Well. Love it. I need to get one of those voice notes. Of Will Buxton. So when we have a safety car, I can just play you his infinite wisdom. Will Buxton once said of Monaco, the man who crosses the finish line first will win the Monaco Grand Prix. Unbelievable. Weiss has come into the pits. He's put on a brand new set of tyres. Skull has decided to do something different. He's decided to stay out, hold on to track position. This becomes more and more difficult because there's just no gaps in the field. Making a pit stop sends you right to the rear of the field, and that's not where you want to be when you're in Monaco. I said you didn't want to be the driver in P11, the only driver not to pick up points this evening. Well, you're no longer at that risk. If you're able to get the car to the finish line, you'll pick up points in Monaco. Of course, if you ask me, the problem is not the Monaco circuit, but rather the cars. Some people will say yes, but if you look at the past, the cars were a lot smaller, there still wasn't overtaking. Well, the cars were a lot smaller, but they didn't have DRS. Make the cars smaller with modern day DRS, and you could get overtaking here in Monaco. And if you think that's not possible, go have a look at Formula E for their Monaco E-Prix. Very same circuit, very same layout. 2 years ago they had a record 23 overtakes for the lead of the race. So maybe the layout not the problem, but rather these cars. Of course, Jerez was also a fan favorite circuit in Spain. Circuit can no longer be used because apparently it's too narrow at 10 meters wide. Well, Monaco's 8 meters wide. Make it make sense. Skull leads the way. He's done 13 laps on those hards. Spike's just behind him in the Williams, also 13 laps on the hards. Those are the only two drivers who did not come into the pits. Now, I wonder if Skull didn't come into the pits because Virus came into the pits and it was a double stack. I'm not quite sure. He's decided to stay up, hold on to track position. Hope that Weeze gets stuck in the field trying to make overtakes. Maybe that'll just allow him to have a bit of a run up the road. If we get another safety car, might get a free pit stop and stay out in front, but that would be the optimal situation. Skull away at the front, and what a start. 2 seconds at the front. It almost looked like it was some sort of a jump start. Caught Spike completely unaware. 2.1 seconds the gap at the front. And this is exactly what he needs to do for Skull to get a fantastic result in this race. Of course, he hasn't pit just yet, but this is what he needs to do. Weeze has made a pit stop, and Weeze is going to have to come through the field, and while he does, this is Skull's best opportunity. Hold that gap up as much as possible and hope for a safety car so he can get a free pit stop. But unfortunately for him, Weeze has already made up one of those overtakes. He's already left Sugar Bear in his dust. First of the overtakes. Now he's all over the back of Harsh Cartoon, NP4 all over the back of the Haas. It's the only circuit you're going to see it at. Any other circuit, somebody who's got this sort of extra speed on them, they would have made the overtake already. Here in Monaco, things are tight. There isn't much space. And if the driver's not willing to let you through, and if the driver's not making any mistakes, it's going to be quite difficult. And I don't think Wee's going to be too happy with that. Let's just have a look at that Red Bull. Does it have all its carbon fiber attached? Almost said he outbraked himself, but Weeze is a bit of a Monaco master. A bit worried about throwing any disrespect his way, but did he just outbrake himself, or did the Haas just not allow him the space? I'm not quite sure what happened there. That will lose him a little bit of momentum, and this goes back to what I was saying about Skull. It's so important for him now. He's got the clean air, he just needs to open up the gap, and that's exactly what he's doing. 4 seconds is the gap. He needs to keep it moving in that direction before Weeze can find his way into P2 and challenge for that lead. Looking at the leader, this is Skull. No idea that Skull was such a fan of the streets of Monaco. In fact, I have a very, very lucky cousin who happens to live in a town called Lyon, and it's just 20 kilometers from this very circuit. So he has been to the Monaco Grand Prix multiple times, as well Let's pull the card and Spark. Loves to make me jealous. Skull leads the way. We've just had a retirement, caution and safety car. This is what I was talking about. Where is Skull? He should be near the pit lane. He's right on top of the pit lane. Surely he comes into the pits. Yes, he does. And while everybody else has to drive around a little slower than they'd like, he may just be able to make the most of it. Where is Skull? Is he already back on his way? I believe he is. Wheeze has retaken the lead of the race, and look who's in P2. Visor, just for you. Take a screenshot. Frame it. Hang it up next to your rig so you can be reminded every time. As things stand, Wheeze leads the way. Harsh Cartoon in P2. But he does have a interesting situation with the tyres. 13 laps on those hard tyres. The only driver in the field who has not made any pit stops at all. Of course, this is only lap 18. We're just about at halfway distance. We could still see more safety cars. We still could see more jumbling up of the field. Remember at the start, just before that first safety car, Wheeze had already accumulated a 6.5 second gap over the rest of the field. Safety car came out, closed the field. Second time round, Skull was able to hold on to Wheeze. Wheeze didn't get as far up the road. Second safety car came out. Wheeze chose to pit. Skull chose to stay out. Third safety car. Skull has eventually come into the pits. It's actually just cost him a little. Saying he needed to open up that gap at the front. Well, he needed to open it up a little more. I think that gap was at about 6 seconds. Needed to be another 2 or 3 seconds up the road if he was going to clear Wheeze. That'll be unfortunate for Skull, as well as Andre, 6 and 8. Of course, they were 2 and 3 coming out of turn 1. But more safety cars, very, very possible. Some will pit, some will stay out. And this field might mean nothing. We're down to just the 8 drivers. So I said all you needed to do was get to the end and you'd pick up points. Well, not everybody's been able to get to the end. Just got 8 drivers remaining in the field. 12 began the race, 8 remain. But how many will finish? And what happens if you don't have 3 drivers to cover the podium? Is that third step just empty? That would be interesting. Not sure if I've seen that scenario. Safety car is in this lap. See it flashing away there on the left hand side. Welcome to Dixie Killer, W Visor, W Queen, all the regulars in the chat. Good to have you back. Let's go SKR. Tonight is SAFRL. It's definitely morphing into an SKR channel. The bias. Lap 20 of 39, just over halfway distance. And we get going once again. Wheeze leads the way, this time from Harsh Cartoon. 1.2 second gap already right at the start. Gets the jump on the driver in P2. Then you've got Virus in P3, Pantry Star P4. That's the driver that got disconnected in qualifying. He'll be glad to be back in the lobby. Robin in P5. We saw him changing a wing earlier on. And that's what those multiple safety cars can mean. You might have to come in change a broken wing, find yourself 20 seconds adrift from the rest of the field, think to yourself, why am I even here? If somehow I close these 20 seconds, catch up to the field, how am I supposed to pass anyone? Well, the safety car makes just about anything possible. It really comes down to who is where on the track when the safety car is activated. Sometimes it's your day, sometimes it's not. DRS now enabled again. Hopefully we have it for more than just 2 or 3 laps this time round. Weeze leads. He won't be worried about DRS because he's got a 3-second gap to the man behind. Harsh Cartoon in P2. Hopefully he remembers he does have to do a mandatory stop. In fact, he has done a mandatory stop. Pit under the first safety car. Was it the first? Yes, I think it was the first safety car. Now, of course, any other race circuit on the calendar, you'd be thinking, his tyres are much older. What is he doing? At some point, he'll just drop like a pebble down the field. But here in Monaco, if you're willing to get your elbows out, if you're willing to make that car as wide as possible, if you're willing to be defensive, it's possible. It is possible to hold on to that position. I'm not saying it'll be easy. I'm just saying it's more possible than it is at any other venue. Weeze leads the way, 4.5 seconds is the gap. That's not the largest gap Weeze has had. That was before the first safety car. Well over 6 seconds. All of that work got cancelled out. Wasn't able to open up the same sort of gap in the second stint of the race. But now things have flipped. And the man who was once challenging for the lead of the race now down in P5. Guys are saying hards will last to the end. I believe they will. And even if these tyres do fall off, you have the luxury of it being Monaco. It's probably the one circuit, regardless of your pace, if you can put that car in all of the right places, you can make it virtually impossible. Look at this, what a switch. I don't even know who overtook who. Pantry Star P3, Skull P4, Virus P5. They decided to go 3 wide down the Monaco straight. Testing physics. And the Aston Martins, well, they did this at the start of the race. They did it to Andre and they're doing it again, this time to Pantry Star. Just working really well together this time around. Virus not able to follow his teammate through, but it almost looked like they were going to repeat the feat. What they did to the Ferrari driver early on. Speaking of the Ferrari driver, there's only one left. Started with the 2 Ferraris. Of course, Top Gun and Andre, only Andre remains. He's down in P7. We've lost Sugar Bear, we've lost Top Gun, we've lost Levy. And the first to go was Skulk. Only got 1 penalty on the timing sheets. Probably had more. Those drivers have retired. We have another caution and well. What can I say? To steal a quote from Thanos, it's inevitable. A safety car, it's inevitable. Multiple safety cars. You knew it was going to happen. We saw it on Sunday. We're seeing it again. We've lost another. We're down to 7. Are the drivers going to take the challenge? Are we going to have enough to finish on a podium? It's a big, big, big crash. It's not just anyone who crashed out of the field. Have a look at the name. He's the quickest man in qualifying by a massive margin. Quickest man in the first stint was going quickest until that safety car. Now finds himself back in the comment section. A little bit of Charles Leclerc luck. Extremely quick around the streets of Monaco. So much potential. But when it comes to the race, no luck. Now look at your leader of the race. I said it's possible to keep drivers behind you. Here in Monaco, you put that car in all the right places. Make it as wide as you can. Get your elbows out. And be prepared to defend for all it's worth. Can make things very, very difficult for the driver behind. Technically, the driver behind has to rely on you making some sort of a mistake. So if you can keep things clean, keep the car where it needs to be, you can even drive within yourself, you can even drive slower than you need to. Just make sure you don't leave any space. No indication yet of the safety car coming in, so safety car out for another lap. Just one more car at the rear of the field, that's Robin, and I think he has caught up. The field is together, safety car will be in at the end of this lap. Of course, with each and every passing lap behind the safety car, Ashkatu knows it's one step closer to that lap 39, and under the guard of the safety car, at least he knows no one's allowed to overtake him. In fact, I'm sure he'd be happy to finish this race under safety car. They've been saying sorry to ease. See lots and lots of pace around this circuit, and who knows, maybe without the safety cars that crash wouldn't have happened. Of course, every time you get a safety car, every time you get a restart, there's a potential to just get out of that groove that you slip into in the race. And now Skull has left the session, and let's see, we're going to try and send him an invite while we're under safety car. There we go. I have sent Skull an invite. That's a very, very unfortunate disconnect. That's the man in P2. He would have loved for one more lap behind the safety car so he could get back in. Sent him that invite as soon as we could. And hopefully he's able to jump into that car very, very soon. He's got Pantry Star just behind him. Pantry Star's eyes will light up to see a ghost car ahead of him. So difficult to make overtakes around this circuit. You spot a ghost car. Let's go. You can see there just the nature of Monaco. He's been behind that ghost car for quite a few more corners than he'd like. Just shows you how difficult it is to overtake. What is the AI on that ghost car? Absolutely flying. Harsh Cartoon, on the other hand, he's out front. And things couldn't really be better. Said if he defended as hard as he could, the possibility was there. Right now, he doesn't need to defend. He's got a 1.4 second gap. And as I say that, he needs to get on with it. Pantry Star gets past Skull, Virus gets past Skull, Spikes gets past Skull, the car's still ghosting. Still not back in control of that car. Wonder if he will return. Hopefully he does return. Harsh Cartoon leads the way, Pantry Star P2, Virus P3, then we've got Spikes in P4. This is Skull, still not in the lobby, still ghosting. Now Skull saying does not let him join. Disappointing end to the Monaco Grand Prix for Skull. Getting disconnected, crashing out is one thing. The internet letting you down, somehow worse. It's your mistake, your crash. You can sort of take it. Oh well, that was silly. Blame yourself. When the internet lets you down, it's just frustrating. Didn't do anything wrong, especially in a race like that where the race win at Monaco is definitely in contention. As for Harsh Cartoon, he's doing enough to keep the gap to Pantry Star. The gap is 1.7 seconds. Harsh Cartoon 24 lap old hard tyres that should get to the end of the race. Pantry Star 16 lap old mediums, presuming he's also taking those to the end of the race. But the gap 1.8 seconds, so while it is growing slowly, the gap is indeed growing, and it's just crossed the 2-second mark for the first time. So Harsh Cartoon, keep your concentration. I hope you're not listening to the stream. If you are, I suggest hitting the mute button. Skull now picks up a 3-second time penalty. There we go, he's back in control of the car. P4. Remember, not all hope is lost. This is Monte Carlo. Safety cars, still a possibility. We've had lots of them. We might have more of them. And if that's the case, things could flip again. I said Harsh Cartoon was doing enough to get away from Pantry Star. Well, Pantry Star now starting to respond. 1.3 seconds. Of course, I said that gap crossed the 2-second mark for the first time not so long ago. So either Harsh Cartoon made a mistake that cost him 0.7 of a second, or Pantry Star has found some serious pace. And I think, well, I don't think it's the latter, because Spikes has just got past Pantry Star. Pantry Star down to P3, and now Spikes will become the new challenger in this race. 1.8 seconds is the gap. Harsh Cartoon won't mind. He won't even know what's going on behind him. He'll just hope for more of it. Stay behind. He's somehow managing the pace, keeping the gap. He won't know how he's doing it. He won't know those drivers are battling behind him. He won't care. From now to the end of the race, he should just have the two focuses. Breaking point, apex, and repeat. Still a lot to play for here for Skull. This is definitely not over. We've seen he's had a lot of pace around Monaco's. If he's able to get past this Mercedes, still have a go at Spikes, still can have a go at P2, and if you look at the gap between P1 and 2, it is closing. So a victory is still very much on the cards. The only problem is it's Monte Carlo, and overtaking isn't as simple as that. Harsh Cartoon leads the way still, but now he's going to start feeling the pressure. Told him don't look in your mirrors, don't worry about what's happening behind you, but now he's going to start feeling it. He's going to see the gap. It's a couple of tenths. If he looks behind him, if he looks in his mirror, he's going to see a Williams. A very, very eager Williams. Now remember, this is not like any other situation. A lot of times I would say if you're not racing the man, rather let him go. It's costing you time, but not in this situation. In Monaco, everything you can do, every piece of knowledge you have about defensive driving, now is when it applies. Visor saying, Harsh Cartoon, make my night. Well, if this does happen, you better screenshot those final results, and you better have them printed right next to your rig. If you don't have a rig or a wheel, well, then you're going to have to write a note of it on your controller. Gap at the front, 0.4 of a second. So close. DRS open. Any other race circuit, you'd have the driver diving into turn 1. And look at that virtual safety car. Of course, this is not a full safety car. This could end at any time. It could end in the very next corner. It could end at the end of the lap. You got to be on your toes. Make sure you stay within the green delta. Of course, you'd like to stay on the very edge of that delta as much as possible. You do have a chance to even increase your gap under the virtual safety car. Very little, but possible. But you don't want to be caught napping on the DRS, and the last thing you want to do, rather on the DRS, on the delta, you want to be caught napping on the delta, and the last thing you want to do is get a penalty at the restart. And what have I done? What have I done? Said the last thing you want to do is get a penalty at the restart. And well, Harsh Cartoon's gone on to get a penalty at the restart. Commentator's curse strikes again. The force is strong. I'm pretty sure if you want anyone on the circuit to do badly, you should just get me to focus my commentary on them. Harsh Cartoon now down into P2. He would have been defending for all he's worth. He would have known the possibility was there. But now with that penalty, you just get deflated. What's the point? You know you're going to the rear of the field. Night spoiled, says Visor. Apologies to Visor. Harsh Cartoon. And Visor back to his old tactics. And if Harsh Cartoon wants to get a framed picture on Visor's wall, well, it's gonna have to try again. Now does go through for his drive-through. Biggest problem for him is we've had so many safety cars. The field's going to be really close together, and when he does emerge, he's going to be in a very, very different position. And there we go. Harsh Cartoon emerges from the pits in P6. Visor saying retire, get it over and done with. That's not right, Visor. May not win the race. Still a healthy amount of points on offer. think any other race, if Ash Cartoon had been finishing P6, you'd be saying well done. Said the race wasn't over. He thought the race was over when he got disconnected. Then he got an invite, tried to join, it wouldn't work. Thought that's my night. He's back out front and he's got quite the gap. Pantry Star, the man in P2, and he's coming under pressure from another driver who at one point in this race looked like he was completely out of it. Andre, P3, does have one advantage over Pantry Star, the car ahead of him. He's got much fresher mediums. Just want to confirm those penalties, just 2 penalties, both of them 3-second penalties. The most important of those 2 penalties, the one on top, the one for the leader, 3 penalty. It's an 8-second gap, so that would be enough for Skull to take victory here today. We win by 5 seconds. It's so important, he has to keep that gap above 3 seconds, otherwise he would lose this race. Pantry Star in P2. He can't celebrate just yet. That Ferrari very much on his tail. Pretty sure at this stage Andre is cursing the Monaco layout. Wants to make that overtake, wants to make it a Skull Andre 1-2. 2 drivers we've seen match each other so many times. What a night this would be. As things stand, it would still be a double podium. But I assure you, Andre would love to jump into P2. Hopefully the stream is coming through fine on your side. Let me know how the stream looks on your side. Just getting one or two warning lights on my side, so hopefully everything looks okay. If it is buffering, remember you can just rewind for a minute or 2. Everything should look fine, and you should be able to enjoy the end of the race without any buffering. I'm just worried about 1 or 2 warning lights that just popped up. Hopefully they disappear. There we go, commentators curse again, this time working for the good. The lights just disappeared. Good stuff. Look at the leader, 8.5 seconds, managing his pace, managing the gap, doing a fantastic job. The man in P2, Pantry Star, still under pressure. Andre's still looking for a way by, but where? There's just no space. You've got to rely on a mistake, and the only way you can get that mistake is force that driver into a mistake. Fortunately, it's the one circuit you can apply as much pressure as you want. If the driver is just keeping the car in the middle of the circuit and refuses to look in his mirrors, well, you're not going to go very far. I'm pretty sure that's what Pantry Star is doing right now. He's aiming for every apex, making sure he closes every gap and doesn't allow the Ferrari driver even a sniff, even an opportunity, even a thought of a late dive bomb. The only place it could happen is through the tunnel. If he gets really close here on the entry to the tunnel, on the exit, could make the overtake into that chicane. That would be A very brave and flamboyant move, and he's just not close enough. Final opportunity will be Raskas. That would require the Mercedes driver to make quite the mistake. And what has happened there? Pantry Star has jumped out of the way. Is there something I don't know about? Seems like there's something I don't know about. Andre's going to go over the line. Pantry Star out of the way for Virus as well. And look at that. Skull P1, Andre P2, and Virus makes up the podium. What a result. Andre gets your driver of the day. And for the driver in P1 and the driver in P2, what up and down races. Not so long ago, Skull was swearing in the chat. So there are your final results. Skull takes the victory. What a victory. And he did it with a penalty next to his name. Andre into P2. Very nicely done. Virus, he makes up the podium. 2 Aston Martins in the top 3. Great result. Pantry Star P4. Robin P5. Harsh Cartoon P6 for a while. Looked like he might take a victory tonight. Then we've got all of the retirements. Wheeze, Sugar Bear, Top Gun, Lebby, Skulk, and Spikes. And there we go. That is the end of the penultimate round of SAFRL. Means we've just got 1 round to go. It's going to be your more standard circuit. Of course, we go to Catalunya one more time on Sunday and then on Tuesday. Then, of course, the league is expected to take a bit of a break. And when it re-emerges for Season 12, it's going to be on a new game. I hope everyone at home really enjoyed the stream. If you didn't enjoy that, well, you're not going to enjoy anything. That went up, it went down, it went back up again. Sure, Skull did not think just a few minutes ago that he would be winning this race. When Andre was down in P9, pretty sure he didn't think he'd be finishing in P2. But that just shows you what can happen in Monaco when there's a race with multiple safety cars. So, of course, thank you to all of you who joined me. Channel goes a little quiet now until Sunday. But until then, hope you all enjoy the rest of your week. I'll be back on Sunday. Goodbye, everyone. Cheers.
Max Verstappen, king of the fight, burning the track in the dead of night. Outruns the pack, leaves them behind. Fastest heart with the mastermind. Not the quickest car, but he still shines. with a dream so great. 2 races in, he hit the wall. Max Verstappen wrecked him, y'all. He thought he'd shine, but oh sweet son, Max chewed him up like a 2-day run. 2 races and a teardrop, that's all he got. 5 faster than a jackrabbit shot. Max destroyed another teammate. It's plain to see from Ricciardo to Lawson, he's a one-man spree. Daddy Rick tried with his big old grin. Max spun him out, said I always win. Gasly and Albon, they took their turn. Crashed and burned, oh how they yearned. Perez hung on till his tires were flat. Now Williams gone, imagine that. 2 races and a teardrop, that's all he got. 5 faster than a jackrabbit shot. Max destroyed another teammate. It's plain to see from Ricciardo to Lawson, he's a one-man spree. Red Bull Barn's a lonely place. If you ain't Max, you're out of the race. Liam packed his boots, said I'm done, I reckon. Max just smirked, next victim's beckoning.
Good evening, David Croft here. Please remember to support NFR. You can do that by subscribing and hit that like.
With the junior squad singing why I think I'd beat that god. Max the shadow looms so tall and wide. Another teammate's pride just died. From Daniel Pierre, I was Checo too. Liam learned what we all knew. 2 races and a teardrop, that's all he got. 5 faster than a jackrabbit shot. Max destroyed another teammate. It's plain to see from Ricciardo to Lawson, he's a one-man spree. So here's to Liam with a beer and a side. 2 races down and a wide-eyed try. Max keeps winning that Dutch tornado. Red Bull's second seat, a big oh no. Chasing dreams in flight.
That's right, Dead Queen. P1, P2. What a night.
Spinning wheels forevermore. Engines scream at 8 o'clock. Adrenaline like ticking clock. Turns and twists where legends bleed. Every fan needs to believe. In the league of SAFRL we rise. Fuel and fire in our eyes. From the lows to the highest highs. It's the thrill that never dies. Pit stops quick, a race of fate. Champions born at heaven's gates. Trackside hearts beat wild and free. Victory for all to see. Rivalries burn tire lights. Red and green in the night. Final lap on the moon's gaze. Ending in a roaring blaze. Crown rolls like crashing tide. In SAFRL we take pride. From start to end hero fights. Everlasting speed delight. SAFRL, we rise, fuel and fire in our eyes. From the lows to the highest highs, it's the thrill that never dies. In the league of SAFRL, we rise, fuel and fire in our eyes. From the lows to the highest highs, it's the thrill that never dies. In the league of SAFRL, we rise. It's the thrill that never dies. The thrill that never dies. Pit stops quick, a race of fate. Champions born at heaven's gates. Trackside hearts beat wild and free. A victory for all to see. Rivalries burn dynamite, red and green in the night. Final lap on the moon's gaze, ending in a roaring blaze. Crowd roars like crashing tide. In SAFRL we take pride. From start to end, heroes fight. Everlasting speed, delight, delight.
Like a shooting star, the engines roar, the tires scream. Fast as lightning, it's the dream. Speed and drama, every turn on NFR. The rubber burns, feel the thrill of every bend, where the champions transcend. Feel the power at NFR. Burning tracks, driving far, where the races never end. NFR. Calls to play on NFR every race day. Commentary sharp and loud, hyping up the roaring crowd. Feel the power at NFR. Burning tracks, driving far, where the races never end. NFR, only friend. Not Fernando calls to play on NFR race day.
I am stupid. I am stupid. I switch off everything.